All right, welcome into Off the Radar, taking a look at a few stories from around sports that we might not otherwise get to, or at least spending a little bit more time talking about certain stories around sports. And we've got a mixed bag today, from some coaching hires that there's some connections to, or just names of interest, to the son of an NBA superstar who's well on his way to becoming a star in his own right, and much more. But let's start off with the hot rumor that I know you guys were very interested in our text message group. Troy Aikman could be on the verge of leaving Fox for ESPN's Monday Night Football. That report came out yesterday. Aikman, of course, with Fox for the longest time now, and partnered up with Joe Buck as their A-team there. He is in negotiations, Troy Aikman, to leave Fox and join ESPN to become the lead analyst on Monday Night Football. That, according to Andrew Marchand of the New York Post, who's like Mr. Media reporter in the sports world. The deal rumored to be thrown around right now is 5 years, and somewhere, Marchand says, in the neighborhood of Tony Romo's $17.5 million per year contract. Tony Romo makes $17.5 million.
I knew he was paid well, but when I saw that number last night, I was like, oh my God.
What?
And you know what? You earn or get what apparently is the value according to sponsors and audience and your employer.
You do, but man, that's seems like, I mean, I know the NFL makes big money, but I don't know. Where are you guys on Romo as a broadcaster at this point?
I enjoy him. I do. I think that sometimes he might be a little bit too excited.
Yes.
But I do like that too. Granted, and I'm constantly comparing him to his predecessor, Phil Simms, who,
was the opposite?
Was the exact opposite. I'd rather listen to monks chanting than him analyze a game. So
he can get a little bit overzealous at times, but I have no problem with him. I never was a big Tony Romo fan as a player. Well, mainly because I love the team that he used to beat a lot, but they got him a few times too. He's good. He can at times be a little bit overmodulated, but hell, so am I.
Yeah,
and I admit that.
Sometimes he's like a kid who's on a sugar rush.
Yeah, no,
and you're like, just
great...
calm down a little bit, and you'd be good. But you're just like, you just had that Snickers bar, and you can't
he's
stop
like,
rattling.
Oh boy, Jim.
Yeah,
boy.
Exactly.
And he gets there, but
would you rather have that though than a stump in the log?
Oh yeah, I mean, look, and I prefer him to Chris Collinsworth. I prefer him to most. I like Tony Romo. I don't mind it. I think that he and Nance balance each other out really well.
There's also been a lot of rumors, of course, about Al Michaels and ESPN and what that could potentially look like, him moving over there. According to Marchand's report, Amazon was also in talks with Aikman, and so they're going to be heavily involved moving forward. They're about to be the exclusive Thursday Night Football home and streamer, so they apparently talked to him, and Amazon apparently is still talking to Al Michaels as well, so we will see. Aikman's been at Fox for 20 years. I mean, it's been 2 decades of him calling games, and he's been calling games with Joe Buck since 2002.
Yeah, I think that part of this is, Aikman has that new beer out. He's kind of branching out a little bit. ESPN maybe provides you a little bit better opportunity to do that than Fox. Now, he won't get to do Super Bowls because they're not in that rotation. He won't.
Is there a new deal? What about ABC?
Maybe there is. Maybe is. But I don't know. But that he won't get to do as many really good games unless the NFL changes its policy on scheduling Monday nighters.
Yeah.
Which, it's about 50-50.
There are more games in their newest deal. And I did look at that, and because I wondered, would he get stuck where no one can, because Monday Night Football used to be it.
Well, because of Thursday night.
I know that was Cosell, Meredith, whatever.
Well, because of Thursday night, now it's kind of split up to where Monday night doesn't have as many just out and out, Jacksonville versus Houston duds that it kind of used to. But yeah, I mean, it's going to change. Now, I'm as a Cowboys fan from the 90s, Troy Aikman could ask me to help him commit a crime, and I probably would.
Yeah.
But I've always enjoyed his analysis. He pulls no punches.
Monday night games, Paul, can be flexed. Mm-hmm. And the contract starts in 2023, so they can now be flexed.
Yeah, well,
that's not been the case.
Yeah, so that's good news for that, and that's why he would go there. I know a lot of people don't like Troy Aikman because he is very frank about things.
And let's be honest, where we are, and Craig, I hope we're not derailing your stuff, but where we are in Texas, He's a Cowboys legend. He's a three-time Super Bowl champion, and I think sometimes Cowboys fans feel like he's too harsh. I think that's the greatest compliment of all, that he's going to just tell you how he feels.
So some candidates to replace him if he leaves Fox, according to Marchand. You got former Panthers tight end Greg Olsen, Sean Payton, now that he is no longer on the sidelines for the New Orleans Saints. That was another name mentioned. He also talked about maybe working a trade for Drew Brees, like a network trade. So there's a ton of different possibilities of the directions that all these networks could go. But obviously Monday Night Football has been a revolving door. I mean, they have not been able to stick with a crew.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know what that means for Louis Riddick or Brian Greasy, because they were in the booth this last year.
Steve Levy,
yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, but, does it become Al Michaels and Aikman? I don't know, but Aikman is leaving Fox and apparently could be joining ESPN's Monday Night Football.
ABC has the Super Bowl in 2026 and again in 2030.
All right, so that would be Aikman.
Well, you would, yeah. Okay.
All right, elsewhere going on today, Jayden Daniels, former Arizona State quarterback. There was a report by a Missouri fan site that Jayden Daniels had committed to Missouri, but he did respond on Twitter and say that those reports are not accurate. So as of right now, he remains uncommitted. Could very well end up at Missouri when all is said and done. Maybe that's just an early leaking of a report, but as of right now, Jayden Daniels, a denial on Twitter that he has committed to Missouri. So just updating that. The city of Las Vegas, is it on its way to becoming the next sports franchise powerhouse and having a team in every single league? They got the Las Vegas Raiders, so they checked the NFL box. Before that, obviously, their maiden voyage was the Las Vegas Golden Knights in the NHL.
Yep.
Basketball, there's been lots of talk about the NBA eventually planting roots in Las Vegas, and why not? They have their summer league there. Obviously, it's a very NBA city, and so there's a lot of talk about that. So they've got the NHL, they've got the NFL. They're probably going to get the NBA at some point. They're actually in the workings for an expansion MLS team as well, and that's kind of on the tracks right now and could happen much sooner rather than later. But the big reason why I bring it up is because while they are likely to have the NBA and MLS relatively soon in the future, they are very close, it appears, to maybe landing the Oakland A's and bringing them to Las Vegas to give them 3 of the major 4 sports. The Oakland A's, of course, have been an absolute dumpster fire, and that's the best way to really talk about their stadium as well. That's the big hang-up, is the Oakland A's stadium. Apparently the A's organization has exchanged term sheets on at least 4 different plots of land in southern Nevada, where they are eyeing building a $1 billion Major League Baseball park. Team representative who confirmed the number in the Las Vegas Review-Journal noted the A's are in active negotiations with landowners of all 4 sites. So just a little bit of momentum building for the A's to potentially be uprooting. There's been long talks about it. Obviously, everybody's been leaving Oakland. The Warriors left for a journey across the bay to San Fran. The Raiders left for the sunny skies of Vegas, and now Oakland might just be the launching pad for Las Vegas pro sports. Quite frankly,
I think that. I hate to say it because you'd hate for the fans in Oakland to lose yet another team. But
they'd be without anybody.
They'd be without anybody. But the bottom line is that not ever going to get improved at the Coliseum. It's terrible. Smoak, you ever been to the Coliseum?
Yeah, no, one time I did. It's
terrible. Look, I went there in 2010-ish, maybe 2011. And it was bad then. It's bad now. You probably went there before 2010 or so. It wasn't good ever. It's a big cement block of nothing. It's not in a great neighborhood. All these bad things about it. So it's just probably time for them to leave. And it stinks to the people in Oakland. I really hate it for them. But a lot of people are leaving the Bay Area for a lot of different reasons.
The A's won 3 straight World Series titles. The Raiders had their great run, and
but I also credit the people of Oakland, for not bending over to the will
of
billionaires and going, yeah, we'll pay for a stadium, because they've done that before and it hasn't worked out.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk. I think it was some politicians discussing legislation over banning teams being able to basically tax the communities to build their stadiums. I don't know if y'all saw that, but I know there's been discussion about that before, but putting in some type of a rule where, you can't build your $1 billion stadium off the backs of the citizens, especially when you're already billionaires in most cases. It's kind of silly that you would be paying for a stadium that you've got enough money to pay for just because you can take it from the people who don't really have it. But the Oakland mayor, Libby Schaaf, says that they've been working on different ideas for the A's and different proposals. And here recently, they actually felt like they had a little bit of momentum, voting 6-2 to certify the final environmental impact report, which would pave the way for a binding financial agreement between Oakland and the A's organization. That could happen this summer. But there's also a lot of other boxes to check, and I don't know, man. It just feels like it's inevitable, quite frankly. Maybe the city of Oakland pulls off a Hail Mary and get their ducks in a row and get this thing built, but they've been talking about it for years and years and years to no avail. So
Las Vegas and Nashville are the next two big pro sports cities.
I mean, yeah, Vegas is going to get MLS. That's almost guaranteed. That would leave them with NBA and MLB if you want to count like the big five. Do we need to go here?
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
All right. Well, let me backtrack there. So you got the A's, and how about LeBron James, his son, Bronny? You guys really seen much of Bronny? I mean, it's not like he's on TV all the time. So he's mostly social media. You would definitely see him.
Yeah, I know of him.
Yeah, yes. He's a very good basketball player. Well, there's been a lot of talk on LeBron's side. LeBron basically said, I think it was the other day, if you want me on your team, draft Bronny, because he's made it clear that he would love to play with his son before his NBA career is done, and still a little bit of time for that to happen. But LeBron's talked about it. And one thing you can say about Bronny, his son, is that, he's definitely got the business ties of his old man, as he has now become a brand ambassador for PSD Underwear, a brand that also includes NBA players like Ja Morant and Trae Young and Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler. James is just a junior right now in high school at Sierra Canyon in the LA suburbs, and this is his first name, image, and likeness deal. He's got over 6 million Instagram followers, so he's got a massive following on social media. He already posted up a picture of him with the boxers for the PSD Underwear brand, but he's a guy that a lot of NIL companies are looking at strongly. Obviously, the connections to his father, but also social media following. And On3, who tracks a lot of this NIL stuff, they are projecting Bronny James to make $5+ million in NIL money before his high school career is over. Not before his college career, which he's probably not even going to have a college career. Before his high school career is over, they're expecting him to make $5 million+ in NIL deals.
Hey, if I was a high school kid and I had a chance to do that, I'd take it back. Good for him.
Of course.
And I don't think he's that highly rated as a high school player. I think I might say that. He's one of the top 50 to 75 rated players in high school. Now, whether or not NBA immediately or whatever's going to happen with that, I don't know what the stories are, but
I bet you he goes to the
G League,
the
or whatever
G
it
League
is.
developmental program, and does that, and then whoever he gets drafted by, whatever random team that is, and I'm sure everybody's hoping it's their team, but that's where LeBron James will play his last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's looking like. So, yeah, he's a combo guard at Sierra Canyon. I just looked him up on one of the sites. 247 has him as a 4-star. What's kind of odd, though, and I know he's got a couple years remaining, but you see the write-up on his NIL deal, and you're like, teams like Kansas and Kentucky and blah, blah, blah are all at him, and then I look at his page, and he doesn't have an offer from any one of those schools, so maybe those are coming. I don't know. But, yeah, he's a good player. I don't know what his NBA, heights are or his ceiling is as far as that goes, but I know he's very popular, and yeah, he's now in the NIL game with his first deal and is expected to make a lot of money off of that. And I'll close it out with this, just a couple of personnel type of notes. Ken Norton Jr. coming back to UCLA. He will be replacing linebackers coach Don Pelham, who was with the Pac-12 for like 30-plus years. And he will be back in the what are the official school colors? Baby blue and gold? Or probably a more formal name than that, right, for UCLA? It's not just baby blue and gold, is it?
It's not powder blue, is it?
Powder blue, maybe. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know why I asked the question.
It's beautiful
pretty
color,
colors.
yeah.
But Ken Norton Jr. is going to be back in those as a member of the UCLA staff, and he will be joined by Brian Norwood, former Baylor assistant coach. He apparently agreed to terms on a new contract through 2023, so through the next couple of seasons today. That according to On3. So we knew Brian Norwood, and obviously his son Levi played at Baylor for a long time, so he's sticking around in Los Angeles, and now will be joined by Ken Norton Jr., and those are just a few things that are off the radar.
I know you'd like to go longer, and we would too. In fact, we had a couple of comments about the segments we have that are Craig Tuesday, Thursday, off the radar, Paul's top fives, and some of the other things we do, and we appreciate you and the feedback. We don't know sometimes if you don't tell us, and I know some of you will tell us things we sometimes don't want to hear, but thank you very much, Craig. All right, appreciate that. When we come back, Larry Rose III.